headlines. You even someone tweeted at you this morning about your headline. Like, come on,
Yeah.
all headlines are clickbait. That's the whole point. You're trying to get people to come, but the headline is not the point. The point was there's a
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Finance Wolf. In this video, Mark Yusko makes a forecast regarding whether money is wandering. Not the fines they've acknowledged and paid equals the market capitalization of Bitcoin, Mark remarks. That's an incredible statistic, though a little out of date given that I believe it's only 500 billion per hour up to 700 billion. Still, $500 billion is a lot of money to pay for wrongdoing. Thus, we have this triple entry accounting system, and Kathy talks about this decentralized system where we don't have to rely on the Morgans, the Rothschilds, the Medicis, or anybody else, just you and me and this global decentralized network that is immutable and permanent. We don't need to argue about it, and we don't need anybody else. Mark covers a lot of topics, so please watch the video through to the end and like, share, and subscribe to our channel Finance Wolf.
Look, and I actually agree with what she's saying in the sense that we have for 800 years-ish been ruled by this system. And I used to tell the story, Scott. It's funny. I just got back from a vacation. I took a long vacation for the first time in a long time, and it was awesome. We went to Spain and Portugal. And for years, I had talked about, and I think even with you on the show, I've talked about, the Medicis, 800 plus years ago, invented fractional reserve banking. And they borrowed, aka stole, as Picasso said, good artists borrow, great artists steal. They stole from some monks this idea. Now, I didn't know until a couple weeks ago when I was in Portugal that those monks were the Knights Templar. That these Portuguese monks, the Order of Christ, the Knights Templar, the cross, that here's the crazy thing, Scott. Once you hear this story, everywhere you look, there's the cross.
Oh, everywhere. That happened to me after I watched Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but every monument, every little sidewalk, little inscription, every Portuguese flag, everything, like every football coat of arms, like Barcelona's coat of arms has the Order of Christ right there. So Knights Templar everywhere. But this fractional reserve banking system, it's not the devil that everybody thinks it is. It's just fragile, and it's subject to abuse. And I've used the example all the time. In the old days, I lent you money. I wrote down in my ledger. I kept the ledger because I was the rich guy. You needed the money. And I wrote down, you owe me $100. You come back to pay me $100. I've tampered with my ledger. You show up with your 110 to pay me back. And I'm like, oh, but Scott, it says right here, you owe me 200. And you had no recourse because there was no other ledger. So the Medicis, borrowing the Knights Templar, said, okay, Scott, you keep a ledger, Mark, you keep a ledger, and we, the benevolent Medicis, for a small fee, will arbitrate that the ledgers match. But here's the thing. They're corruptible, and I'm a corrupt guy. So I go to the Medicis, and I say, you know what? Scott owes me 100, but I'm going to change it to 200, and I'll give you half. And they're like, done. So you come back to pay me 100, and the book says 200, and you're like, hey, guys, it's 100. And they're like, Scott, you must have written it down wrong. I'm sorry. And so you have to pay 200. And so for years, the system has been corrupted. And we've seen lots of examples from the spoofing and the fines. My favorite stat on that is the fines paid by the global banks. The fines, not the malfeasance, not the money laundering, not the fines that they've admitted to and paid equals the market cap of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing stat. And that's a little outdated because I think it's only 500 billion and now we're up to 700 billion. But still, $500 billion is a lot of money to pay for malfeasance. And so now we have this triple entry accounting system, and that Kathy discusses, this decentralized system where we don't have to rely on the Medicis or the Morgans or the Rothschilds or anybody else. It's just you and me and this global decentralized network that is immutable and permanent, that we don't have to debate, and we don't need anybody else. Like if I want to send you money right now, you have to have a bank account. I have to have a bank account. We pay a fee, wire transfer fee or whatever. But that's antiquated technology. That's an old system. in the New World, this is a cool thing I learned. In 1492, there was no New World, right? Where we're sitting today was forest and trees and not a lot of stuff. And Queen Isabella, the first venture capitalist, gave Christopher Columbus and Vasco da Gama, he went to India, and Christopher went, thinking he was going to India, went to the New World. Long story short, she was the first venture capitalist. Why? Because she took 20% of what they carried back, carried interest. I love that. And, the Spanish and the Portuguese were rich for a long time. They were the center of the universe. The Portuguese was the first world reserve currency, then the Spanish when they took over. And it's like, how could that happen? Well, it's because there was nothing here. There was nothing. And something I never thought about. This is a kind of cool stat or cool little thing. The horse, the cow, the pig, the chicken, all of them, not endemic to North and South America. The potato, not from Ireland. The tomato, not from Italy. Those are from South America and all the other stuff. And it all came through Seville, Spain in late 1400s. That's pretty cool. Headlines, someone tweeted you this morning about your headline. Like, come on. Yeah. All headlines are clickbait. That's the whole point. You're trying to get people to come. But the headline is not the point. The point was there's a four-year cycle, and there's going to be a 4-year cycle because it's coded into Bitcoin. Every 4 years, the block rewards get cut in half. And therefore, one of two things has to happen. Either a large number of the miners have to go bankrupt because their costs are basically fixed, or the price has to rise. And that's a pretty cool thing because what happens is as the price rises, it attracts attention, right? Movement attracts attention, right? And like if my son or daughter were to, move across the frame in the back, I would look because that's what, we hunters do, and we follow movement. And so what happens every 4 years is we have these seasons. And today we're in crypto summer. Well, what is crypto summer? Summer is the period leading up to the halving, the year before the halving. And what does that mean? Well, that means we drift from below fair value. Okay. Now, why are we below fair value? Well, because we had winter 2 seasons ago that pushes the price down. Well, why does winter happen? Well, because people freak out because of the parabolic top in the previous fall. And then we go through spring, which is kind of the bottoming process. That ended, I think, from June to June. And now we're back in summer. Well, if the Metcalfe's Law model that Tim Peterson, that I use, says fair value is 55K, investors, people who buy things below fair value, that's what an investor's supposed to do, would be accumulating Bitcoin here, right? If the price is 30 and the fair value is 55, you would be a buyer. So as that happens, it slowly accretes toward fair value. When the halving occurs, suddenly the price has to rise a little faster. Well, now that draws in speculators. Well, what are speculators? Speculators are people that don't care about the fair value. They don't care about the price. They just want to make money. So they're drawn to the movement. Well, so in the fall of the cycle, okay, the year following the halving, what you get is increasing velocity and increasing interest. The media comes in, you got lots of clickbait, and suddenly it starts to go parabolic. Well, here's what happens. Toward the end of that cycle, that fall period, you get the leverage. And the leverage is what causes the parabola. And that's true of everything. Look what's happening in stocks right now. Why are stocks going like this? Why is NVIDIA going like this? Leverage and short selling and short covering. That's what it is. There's no chance that NVIDIA is worth, in terms of value, its current price. It's
I agree.
Not possible. It's not mathematically possible. It's a great company. They make great products. They're going to sell a lot of chips to people thinking that AI is going to change the world, even though AI is not new. It's a 55-year-old overnight success story. And, we're all not going to be replaced by ChatGPT. I got news for you. But that's not the point. The point is leverage. Margin debt is accelerating again. And so leverage is causing prices to be crazy. So we're in a parabolic blow-off peak in stocks, I believe. And we will have another parabolic blow-off peak kind of late 2024. Halving happens April, May. By the end of that year, we'll be in the parabolic. And look, in the previous peaks, fair value was X. We got to 2, 3, 4 times fair value.
Fair value is probably where we're at now in the last cycle. Should have been in the 30s. Probably, maybe 40.
And that's my point fair value, when we hit 60, the model said fair value was 20. It had been up to 30 and it had fallen to 20. Because remember, transaction volume fell and everybody was afraid. And so we got to 3x because of the crazy Binance 100 times leverage and all the stupid stuff. And that's fine. In the previous cycle in 2017, we got to 2 times fair value was 10. We got to 20. Okay, that's fine. So this time, fair value will accrete according to the model. If things stay the way they are, fair value will accrete to around 100K by the halving. Okay, well, why is that?